Hey guys, Travesty.
And the Freak Joe.
We're back with part 2 of the Crown Hill Cemetery Haunted Vlogs of Indiana.
That's right. In the first video, we saw the Pioneer Cemetery, and the Dillinger grave. In this video, we're going to see some of the rest of the cemetery, as well as the burial of the first person there, Lucy Ann Seaton, and the presidential memorial to Benjamin Harrison, one of the presidents, I believe the only president from Indiana, or one of the first presidents from Indiana, because there was, this is Pt.2, and then there was Tyler too. Zachary Taylor. But I digress.
Yeah. Just to give you guys a quick recap of the cemetery. Its Crown Hill Cemetery was dedicated on June 1st in 1864. As Joe mentioned, the first burial was Lucy Ann Seaton, a 33-year-old mother who died of consumption. Later that year, James Pattison built a stone gateway for about $2,300 at the cemetery's west entrance off of Michigan Road. The cemetery's east entrance at 34th Street opened in 1864. Omnibus transportation reached the cemetery in 1864. Visitors could also travel by steam-powered boat up to the Central Canal and reach Crown Hill. Automobiles were allowed on the grounds beginning in 1912.
I always think it's interesting when automobiles are prevented from being in a place until a certain time. And it sort of makes sense. I mean, you figure the automobile was really invented in like the late 1800s. And so it was pretty new technology. And I don't know. It's interesting that they're allowed, that they were allowed for so long, especially because the emissions were so dirty. They probably would have filthied up a lot of the tombs. Yeah,
and I think one of the big things too, like if I had to guess and everything, we mentioned in the last episode that this area used to be a park for like picnics and walks, carriage rides and everything. So taking horse and buggy down the same area as you would a car could, cause some disruption with the horse and maybe cause some problems.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's one of the things too. It's like, in 1912, you're looking at automobiles not being what they are today. A little loud, a little annoying. People who want to enjoy themselves in the park, totally understandable. But I mean, I couldn't imagine walking this entire area without being in a vehicle. Even just to capture what we could of the cemetery, we were in the car for the majority of the time, unless we got out to kind of look at stuff directly. And we'd even, cover half of what the cemetery has.
Yeah, it really is a massive, massive campus. If you get the chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. It's really a beautiful place. Lots of different tombstones you can look at, and all kinds of historical figures from the history of Indiana. And, once again, if you have any cool stories about anybody who's buried in this cemetery, or any of the famous people especially, leave it in the comments. Let us know what you've seen, what you've heard. And if you've had any encounters with hauntings, whether orbs or ghosts or, like Logansport had the galloping horses sounds. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure we'll get to it in a bit. If there's anything you're familiar with or you'd like us to know about, leave it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So take a minute. We're gonna let you guys kind of take in all the stones and the different unique monuments that are here. Actually, it's going to be a little bit because I think we're coming up to that Confederate memorial here.
Yeah, so we mentioned in the last video that the Pioneer Cemetery was not the only cemetery that had been reinterred at Crown Hill. This Confederate cemetery is made up of the bodies of Confederate soldiers from all over the country. I think we're going to get some close views at these plaques here that I think show almost all the states that existed at the time of the Civil War.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's about 1,100 different people that were reinterred here, and this covers all of their names. Obviously, they're not buried in this spot. They're buried throughout the cemetery, and you can find their names, and then if you want to go find the gravestones, I believe that they are mentioned on these plaques.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that they kind of figured out, too, was that the people who were brought here was actually from a mass grave.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, so now that they got the chance to kind of have like their own area of rest and everything, I think that's pretty cool. And like I said, I mean, like all these, I mean, it's, you know, they got documents of their names and locations. There's a plaque over there that Joe read. I'm sure he'll show here in a minute, but it was just cool that they did something like this, and that we had an opportunity to kind of like look at it and, you know, acknowledge like what they've done for, you know, especially Confederate soldiers who were considered the bad guys in the Civil War. They're still getting like their respect and remembrance.
Yeah, I do think it's important. It's one of the ways that we tried to bring the country back together in the post-Civil War era, is to recognize and honor the dead from both sides. So...
So while we're on our way to the first burial of the cemetery, I just want to give you guys some of the notable ghost spottings that were, I guess, noted.
Yeah, mentioned
as they were spotted.
Yeah.
American soldiers in period uniforms from every American war thus far, and much like the woman with the baby, they too disappear once they've been spotted, or so it seems. So we mentioned, obviously, the Confederate soldiers being buried here. At the end of this video, you're going to get a chance to see us drive past the wall memorial that they have there for all the American wars. So there's been a lot of spottings as far as military soldiers and everything like that, of different eras, different military backgrounds and stuff like that. Visitors and employees have spoke of seeing a woman holding a baby and wandering around the graves, and if she is lost and trying to find her way home. And then obviously when people try to help her out, she just vanishes. This was probably one of the more unique, and I would consider more modern stones. Like very like engineer-esque.
Yeah. I think he was either an engineer or a scientist or something like that. Mm-hmm. We couldn't find a lot of good information on him. There's no plaque.
No.
Just a cool grave stone.
Finally, also commonly reported on are the sounds of young children laughing and playing. It's understandable. On the premises of Crown Hill is a 30 by 50 foot mass grave with 699 children were buried after dying of diseases, namely diphtheria and typhoid. So that's something that we didn't get a chance to see. Obviously, like we mentioned, this cemetery is so big, we only got through like half of it. But seeing monuments and stuff like this, it's everywhere. Like there's not like an inch that you could drive without seeing things like this or a unique tombstone or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a really cool place, and it's very interesting, the idea that there's this mass grave that sort of points to the idea that these children are in some ways not at rest, which is why they're playing. But they're children, so maybe they're having a good time playing tag and stuff in the afterlife, or in this afterlife. So, and I mean, it's a strange thing to think about, but this was a relatively common occurrence until very recently. That children would die and die of diseases in mass numbers. It's not something that happens anymore. We've done such a good job with infant and child mortality rates that we take it for granted that people will live into adulthood. But back then, it happened a lot.
Yeah. That's and we're seeing a lot more of the mausoleums and kind of monuments and everything there. Again, we still got a lot of the more modern, newer stones being buried around more of the dated and aged stones as well.
Yeah, it is interesting to see sort of these family plots that I think are here, where they sort of have a large monument in the middle, and then surrounding the monument on either side or on the back or in front, you have the actual family plots where people are buried. And then here in the distance, we can see the military cemetery for, I believe, World War I is ahead of us. Or maybe World War II. Or do you think the Civil War?
I'm going to correct you. I'm not sure, but isn't this the AIDS Memorial?
Oh, is it?
Is that what that one is?
I don't know. They look like military headstones.
They do. They 100% do. I know there was like an AIDS Memorial or something at this cemetery, and I thought that's what this was.
Yeah.
This way, it could be the military part. Like, I could be completely wrong.
I mean, we'll find out as soon as we drive past whatever the entrance is.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the great thing. We've done this so long ago, and we're kind of learning ourselves. This is the Gothic church.
That's right.
That was mentioned in the first episode. We should have gone into that.
I bet that would have been open.
Yeah. Well, if we ever make it down to Indiana again, I'm sure we'll have to go back to the cemetery and check it out. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. 400 likes on this video. We'll go back.
True that. Give me 1,000. I might splash myself in that pond, in that fountain right there. Why not? But yeah, I mean, just the architecture of that is amazing.
I love Gothic style architecture. It's incredible. It's beautiful. Really is soaring and draws your eyes to the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that's just a poem.
So I guess that is the military one. I wonder if we did get to see the AIDS Memorial then.
Yeah, I feel like I remember seeing it, but I don't remember if we recorded it or not. Feels like something we would have recorded, but...
Yeah, if we drove past it, then we definitely would have. But
yeah,
that's definitely the military.
Yep, because there's a cannon.
And it is cool that they have these plaques of kind of like the words and like the kind of like the loving words and stuff for the people who have passed.
Mm-hmm.
For a second, I was wondering, like, why's my truck parked over there? But we're in it, so it's not me.
Oh, right. Okay. As I was trying to figure out how we were moving so smoothly. So a lot of these mausoleums are scattered throughout the entire area. It's not just like a collective of a bunch of them, like we saw like Mount Hope, where it's like 3 or 4 of them next to each other. It's like this corner has one, that corner over there, and I gotta say, like, it, for as many different plots and everything was, and as difficult it was to find Dillingers, they keep it kind of pretty uniform on which section and everything that they have people buried at. I think finding the first woman who was buried here was fairly easy, just because when we get to the vase, get to see her plot, you get to actually see what I mean by fairly easy to find her, how it was all laid out and set up and everything. Yeah, it definitely feels like they have changed organization a couple of times as you go through the cemetery, and they do, as I recall, the numbers sort of spiral out
Yeah.
from the center, and so it's as the cemetery organization acquired more land, they added new sections, and I'm not sure that they organized it initially that way, but over time that's how it has developed, so that they can make it more useful for visitors and I guess the interred alike, the deceased.
The deceased?
Yeah, I said deceased weird. I don't know why.
You're looking for the deceased?
Nah, it's just being goofy.
Gotcha.
But I appreciate the attempt at making that make sense.
Yeah. It's just us circling back because we're heading towards the first burial now.
Yeah, I mean, it is, like all cemeteries, it is a big loop with lots of different cross-threading, I guess you could call it. If
you go online and you look up the map for this and everything, it's almost laid out as if it's like a city street-like pattern, with roads going, crisscrossing, looping around, and a lot of turnarounds, or turnabouts, whatever you call them.
Yep.
It's insane because when we're doing the drive-through here, and we're trying to find, the certain ones we were looking for. It's like, well, do I got to take a left here? It's like, no, you got to take a right here and then a left. You just got to go straight a little bit and then you take this curve.
Yep.
So
here we are approaching the that first grave, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where we are.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, because when we went past that was one of the nicer ones too.
That's right.
Yeah,
and you can see, look how old these all are. I mean, they're definitely in that 19th century style, and here she is, totally set apart.
But it's kind of like how you mentioned it. Like, so when we're looking at these stones, like facing one direction, you got a couple of there that are facing the opposite, but it almost looks like they left so much space around her. Like there's like almost like you said, like circling. And as far as I was informed, that is the original stone as well.
Wow, it's in great shape.
Yeah. So, and then obviously this being the first burial, they marked it off and everything, and it's just really cool how they know, like, what that means. Like, this is the first person who was buried here. And they gave it kind of a distinct look as compared to everyone else.
It does make you wonder if it was a cemetery before she was buried here, or if she was buried and then they were like, let's make it a cemetery.
Like she gave them the idea?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I want to say it was because we were talking about how it was dedicated as a cemetery in 1864. Mm-hmm. I want to say she passed away that year. Right?
Yeah.
So I think she was like, I don't know. That'd be interesting to see if they said, like, well, we need a cemetery. We have to bury Lucy.
Yep.
Let's just go take the park.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it is, I mean, it's hard to believe you're in the middle of a major metropolitan area.
Yeah.
It really feels like almost a forest preserve or a nature preserve.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I noticed, like, when it came to, like, Indianapolis, is, like, it's nowhere close to what Chicago is.
Right.
This dedication is to those who donated their body to science.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
And I wanted to make sure that I got this put into the video because it was supposed to be in the previous video, but I moved it here because I thought it went well with, all the other, like, monuments and everything that we saw, obviously.
And of course, being Indianapolis, you have to have things devoted to the art of racing, the sport of racing. So we have here the Crown Hill Racing Legends plaque with lots of information about various race car drivers from Indiana who are buried here. They may be from other places, but this is where they were buried, so they might as well be from here.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the person that we actually, like... I can't remember. But I bet somebody out there knows.
Yeah, drop a comment. Tell us. Remind us. I definitely feel like if you were the kind of person to get married in a cemetery, that's a great place to do it.
I wonder if that was an actual, like, gravestone. Just a gazebo gravestone.
Yeah, as you mentioned in another video, we did all of these tours over the course of 2 days, and definitely Crown Hill was large enough that we could have devoted just a whole day to Crown Hill if we had wanted to.
If we had more time to do this and we could see everything that was at the cemetery, it could have been its own series on its own. We probably could have got 4 or 5 more episodes out of this. But like I don't even think we were planning on getting 2 episodes out of it. It's just that was how it ended up.
Yep. So these are all Masons. We mentioned in another video that we thought it was cool that there were so many Masonic symbols throughout Indiana on gravestones. And here is a whole section in the Crown Hill Cemetery devoted specifically to Freemasons who are buried here. So I believe this is lot 46 and there's another one that's like lot 84 or something that has them all. So it's 2 separate lots, but this is one group together.
Yeah, this is the first time we saw something like this.
Oh, it is just 46 on both. All right.
Yeah, this is the first time we saw something like this as like a dedicated area to Freemasons.
Yeah. So I hope it's not too controversial to mention that Travesty and I are both Freemasons. So this was a really special thing to be able to look and see our brothers' graves and to sort of honor them by showing them off.
I know after we saw it the first couple of times in this series, it made me wonder how many we saw in the previous series that we didn't really catch, but for some reason, going through this series this time, it seemed more like noticeable as far as like having that emblem and everything. Mm-hmm. And what's also cool, like being near this Freemason memorial area, it's within like a couple feet of Benjamin Harris's plot, which is just right over there, right in film shot right there. So it's pretty cool how close it is.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even expecting like something like the landscaped out area. Like I thought it was gonna be more of like a tomb. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like how they have it as just a monument right there, and obviously he's buried alongside I think both his wives.
Yep.
And I believe a child. And it's completely landscaped, well taken care of. I think it's really cool. Obviously, being a former president, I think that's kind of the deal.
I can't quite remember if they disinterred and then reinterred him, or if I don't believe that this was original to his burial plot. I think this is stuff that was added in after the fact as a way to recognize and honor him and his family through like a memorial group or something.
I had a weird, I don't know if it was just you or not, but I just had a weird feeling like walking up to it. Like not like a freaked out or a paranoid feeling, but like kind of honored to visit like something like this. Like knowing that this was a president of our country, even though it was, how many years ago? We're looking at 80 years, I think it was, or something. It's just amazing knowing that, like this is a guy who once was the leader of our country, and to, be there and, like, to his final resting spot was actually a pretty cool feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this large monument must have been for him and his wives. So, and to be clear, he wasn't a bigamist, or bigamist rather. I believe one wife passed away, and then he later married another one. Mm-hmm. Just in case that wasn't clear by the fact that they have the marriage dates on the memorial itself. But just worth noting.
So as we're wrapping up here on this video, I just want to remind you all to make sure you do hit the subscribe button and the notification. These are the actual burying spots of Harrison and all those guys, if you're just wondering. So again, big monument right above all of them, presented across. But make sure you do subscribe, hit the notification bell on our YouTube page, so you know when the videos are dropping, so you know when the new ones are coming out. We are dropping all these through the entire month of October. They should be hitting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with our final one hitting the day of Halloween. So,
thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Go to freaknetstudios.com to check out the other fine podcasts on our network, and be sure to subscribe to This Freakin' Show at wherever you can find podcasts, frankly.
Yeah. Guys, enjoy the rest of the video. Like I said, we're going to come up to the War Wall Monument and everything. So, enjoy. You guys have a great day. I appreciate you listening. As always, I am Travesty.
And I'm the Freak Joe.
And thank you for coming along with us on the Haunted Indiana Cemetery Vlogs.